Good morning, world from Singapore. I am Amar again, your host today for ARR Voices. We have done many episodes earlier, just an humble attempt to reach to everyone in general for life situations and learning processes for self growth and prosperous life as whole. Today, our topic is giving back to society in the present situation of now, let's say, semi pandemic. I would start with the quote from Bhagavad Gita. By giving everything to the cause of Lord, one does not lose anything, but he gets everything that he could never otherwise expect. And there are also many quotes from famous personalities. The one which really attracted me was from Robert Ingersoll. He said, "We rise by lifting others." And there's one more quote by Oprah Winfrey. She said, "To move forward, you have to give back." So with these quotes, I would like today again with our same panelists. I've given their introductions earlier also, but for a brief introduction, again, I would like to start the session with Dr. Ram, uh, who is a doctor by PhD, and he is founder of ACE International. You can find more information in the link. And I would like to ask Dr. Ramanathan the importance of giving back to society. Because nowadays the generation is so materialistically concerned, everything is measured by some currency, by some value. So what is the importance of giving back to society, Dr. Ram?
Hello, good morning, all. It's a very happy time to meet again. Um, can you make me as a co-host? So, giving back to society is a wonderful topic. Nowadays, due to this pandemic situation, Corona 19 spoiled the whole environment with the normal living into the new normal living. So, many people now they are voicing out for how to make the better thing by the way of giving back to the society. So it is the need of time. We must need to think and prosper well about this particular topic, how to embrace our opportunity to participate with the giving back to society kind of attitude. As usual, I want to share my slides, which are making you to think about that. 1 second. Can you all see the slides? Okay. So as spoken just now with Amar and myself, we narrated about the conditions and situations or the commitments. How do we embrace, give back to society? It is the kind of opportunity for us to lead and live better. Why we want to give back to society? Is it important? Yes, of course, because it is making us to come together for a common cause or common need or common goodness, which are going to implement certain things for the society. So we must need to think whether it is a choice of life or it is the lifestyle to embrace for choosing a better choice by the way of giving back to society. That is very, very important to think. We are all motivated to live and lead better, but mainly we focus for some kind of responsibility for our self embracement or self enterprising. Even though we are doing certain things, the activities, the performance, which are going to implement or impact something in the society. So that is the way we have to take the social responsibility, making the people feel good and making ourselves feel good. So that is the way. There is no one has expected how to make a kind of way to give back to society, make them to poor. But it is not true. When you are giving back to the society is taking care of all measurements of the people who wanted to uplift or upscale in their lifestyle. It is a time, and we have to think whether it is our duty or it is a chance for us to live and lead better. When we are speaking about the social entrepreneurship, because there are social organizations or social enterprises which are very well established by the way of the person who are making themselves as an entrepreneur to create the cause and the mediations for bring back to the society. So that is the way the social entrepreneurship comprises with several facts and components which are very, very important. Especially few things I wanted to point out here. When you are creating certain values in the social cause, it is the social value creation. And when you want to make yourself as a leader, contribute better for the society, you are a social entrepreneurial leader. That is the way. There are a lot of hybrid models available where the people plug and play and they can able to use some kind of double bottom line or triple bottom line to do some kind of achievable social responsibility. That is, they are upscaling their activities into the next level. That is the way the social business modeling that is embraced as of now. There are a lot of corporate social responsibility people. They are looking for the opportunity to penetrate into this ecosystem through these social enterprises or social organizations. How do we able to visualize when we are talking about the social entrepreneurs? uh, what are the aims they are making an impact on human well-being or making the effects on the social changes? That is very, very important for us to consider when we are focusing on certain kind of visions, especially for the social entrepreneurs who are including their activities. The four major categories: healthy living, because everyone want to aspirate for keeping their health normal and keeping well, and community improvement. It is a sustainable development for the community. It is not only from the government side, also from the non-governmental organization side. So that is very, very important for uplifting the economic values, gender discriminations, or any impact on the racial inequality to improve better. Also for the environmental sustainability. Nowadays, it is a huge crisis because of the pollution, because of the demoralization activities. It is spoiling our environment very bad. So we must need to think how to sustain our environment very clean and hygiene for a better living opportunities. There are a lot of different models and varieties or types in social entrepreneurs who wanted to engage their commitment or contributions in a better way. How do we able to define it? There are a lot of projects available for the community engagement or contributions. Social enterprises also coming to play something for the betterment, and non-profit organizations or non-governmental organizations, no profit manner, they are engaging certain kind of activities. And when we are talking about other things like eco-friendly manner, we can able to tailor make our environment very clean and hygiene. For any commercial arms, they are providing some kind of corporate social responsibilities which are coming to play for the people to serve better or to make them to lead something better in their life, especially the discrimination in the society be getting eradicated. How do we able to characteristic these people, the social entrepreneurs? They are very practically playing very good, and they are capable of solving problems or any issues, and they are having more teamwork orientations. That is the way they are showing case their social leadership kind of commitments. That is also going to make a change what we desire from the society. So we must need to think how to reduce the risk and improve the innovation platforms to bring the value more better as of now. There are different stakeholders and the shareholders involved with the core values creation of the social mission. Without them, they cannot able to function well. So that is very, very important. Few things we need to remember for that. The team work as well as the happiness among the members, that is very, very important. When you want to join together for collaborative partnerships, you have to engage different vendors or suppliers who are coming together to play around with that kind of environment. There are many satisfactions in and around of the particular ecosystem. We must need to keep the customers very much satisfied with their attitudes. That is the way we have to showcase our kindness and love and affection. Community environmental responsiveness. There are different stakeholders come together. They are participating for the noble cause. That is the way the donors are getting motivated and they are contributing more and more better things for the ecosystem. So these are all the meanings of life when we are thinking about our gift, what we can able to do better, because the life is having the purpose, always give it away. So giving means either you can be a volunteer or you can be a donor. That is the way we can make this world better. That is the purpose of life. Please think and prosper in this way to make it better for you as well as others. Thank you. Over to Amar. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ram. Again, you gave a total insight of importance in the way of social entrepreneurship. This is, of course, very, very much valid as per people looking for their income as well as giving back something.
Thank you.
Coming forward to the issue of giving, for me, giving relates to philanthropy. And what I had seen in my life is all the big philanthropists are all the bald old men who, after earning millions and millions, and suddenly they realize their conscience pinches them and they start giving back. But overall, women are more in total give more than what men do. There may be a few men with big amounts to donate, but if you ask any woman $100 or $200, she would willingly give it for any cause, but not in the case of men. To highlight on the women's part of how women give back to the society, I would call upon Dr. Raji. We have all known Dr. Raji's introduction, but to brief up, she is a founder and managing director of MAST, Master of Academy of Speech and Training. I'm sorry. Yeah, Masters of Academy of Speech and Training. Correct. She is also a doctor in literacy. I'm sorry about my misspelling of acronym. So, Dr. Raji, please tell us about women's way of giving back to society in your way.
Hi, everybody. It's good to see you all again. Instead of saying women's way of giving back to society, I would say what you consider as women's way of giving back to society is nature's way of giving back to society. That is how a normal human being's way of giving back to society should be. Generally, when you see whether people have understood the value of giving back or doing something for others by nature, generally when they beget children, you would see every single human being becomes someone who starts caring for others. That is when their kids come in. But what I suggest is, before that, the moment you start thinking, what's the purpose of my life? Am I feeling happy? Am I sad? What's this? Every day morning, I'm getting up, doing this, doing my work, going to job, coming back. At some point in time, all of us feel somewhere hollow in our heart. We feel that like our life is becoming like a machine, well-oiled machine rather. But to escape from this monotony, we should have something called purpose of life. So the purpose of life is giving back to society. Say, for example, you actually take something from somewhere it's our duty to put that something back there. That's all. That is a simple philosophy of life. Even if you say, I'm a Swayambhu, I'm somebody who is absolutely independent, I'm someone who stands on my own legs. Even if you say that, we have to remember that what we simply say is, this entire society has brought me up and now it has let me off to grow by myself. So what are we going to do it back? You see, recently during the pandemic, when you see everywhere people rushing to pay even up to 5K of a Singapore dollar, US dollar, Indian rupee, anything for what God has been giving free to you from your birth until we leave this world. I'm just referring to oxygen. You see, God has been providing it to us absolutely free of cost. And now, when we realize that for that, a person is searching and we have to pay so much, then we understand that even if you do not have a single dollar in your hand, still that's the way of giving back to society by planting a single tree. The moment we plant a tree, and we have taught our kids to plant a tree, we have taught any number of children to plant a tree, that's it. You have already started to do something to give back to society. If you are rather well oiled, well heeled, then naturally, when there are fundraisers, I suggest giving back to society through that would really mean a lot. Like recently, continuously, almost for the past 1.5 years, one fundraiser after another has been coming up everywhere. Of course, we have to investigate which is trustworthy, which is doing its part and all. But apart from that, what's relevant is, see, recently for a fundraiser, I sent request to at least, I put up my sense of shame. I put up my feeling of, what if I'm rebuffed? What if that fellow says, no, I don't want to donate to your cause? It's okay. If they do not want to donate to the cause for which you are doing a fundraiser, it's absolutely okay. When I sent at least 200 requests, one-to-one request, not a group request, nobody reads a group request. So 200 one-to-one requests, and I found 20 golden souls, golden hearts actually responded to me. And one such soul is sitting here right before us, Dr. Ram. He was the first person, the moment I said, raising this fundraise, Dr. Ram, before I winked my eye, I saw that he has done some donation, which on behalf of all those people, I thank wholeheartedly to Dr. Ram using this panel, because what he has done, I'm sharing here. You see, to do something, you need not be a billionaire or a millionaire. Dr. Ram is neither of that. Okay. We are all normal people who are working and then earning for our daily bread and butter. But there's someone else who touched my heart when really well-heeled people refused to do any donation to me. There was this very good friend of my husband and I, a taxi driver. Please believe me, accidentally only I sent that fundraiser request to him. I didn't even mean to ask him, okay? Because I knew the earlier week he was complaining to us, oh my God, because of all these lockdowns, my business is affected so much, I really don't know what I'm going to do. He was talking. Accidentally, I had sent that request to him. And I felt so bad, I did not know what to do. But within 10 minutes, he sent me $20 for the donation, which I consider is equivalent to almost $2 million, because it's the heart that's behind the $20 that counts. It's his thought that counts. See, why I'm sharing these things here is to do a donation. If someone asks, okay, if you are able to give $1 donation, $10 donation, absolutely okay. And also, the person who is doing the fundraiser, please, let's remember this. We should not, at any point in time, we should not compare a person who is able to, or who has given $5 to another person who has given $500 and do whatever called shaming or whatever. We should not say, oh my God, I thought you were capable of giving more. Why you give only this much? No, we don't do that. We don't do that. If he or she is your personal friend, you can ask and you can bombard and ask. It's a separate story. But why do I say this is, when the situation is such that every single pie you give is going to feed someone else, naturally we really have to think about it. Another way of giving back is not necessarily through money. Of course, we all must plant a tree, not necessarily in your house. Wherever a small piece of land is available, go and sow some seeds. That's all. One day it will be there. You need not enjoy it. Someone will be standing under the shade of the tree. That's a great thing for you to do. And another thing which we can and do is, each one of us, like in Sanskrit, they use the word Shramadan, like your physical service to somebody else. We can go to wherever, all kinds of senior citizen home and the children's home, we can do service. But other than that, if you are under lockdown, the best service you can do is pick up your phone, call a senior citizen whom, not necessarily your own parents or grandparents, call a senior citizen friend whom you have not called in the past, and then just say, what's that? Yes. Oh, no, uncle, no, auntie. I just called to check on you, to just know how are you? How's life? How life is treating you? Do you need anything? Are you able to go out for shopping, or do you think you need anything? Oh, like I called somebody like that and he was flabbergasted. Oh my God. I said, look, I'm also in my 50s, but what I can do is, whatever you want, I can pay and do an online order and make sure that it's delivered to your house. That's the least I can do. See, why I am suggesting various methods is, one person's one way alone is not the way of giving back to society. There are so many methods. And then I do know grannies and grandpas who have given up their time for educating someone else's children free of cost, somebody else's children. I've seen even in India, a grandfather just sitting and calling all the, housekeepers and house sweepers, their kids. He was running a tiny school at his home free of cost. He was teaching them English, he was teaching them Tamil and mathematics, whatever it is. And he said, I'm only a BA, but that is enough for teaching all these primary school kids. It's just my way of helping them. I found that is a very great way of giving back to society. So we need not be Tatas, Birlas, Ambanis, or whatever it is, to just understand the concept of giving back to society. We have the use of the word recycle your clothes and recycle things. You can recycle your garbage, but your clothes, I request you, wash them in the washing machine neatly, fold them nicely, if possible, iron them, and then there are so many homes around the world who are willing to receive it. But let's make sure that the clothes are still in a condition that another person is able to wear it. See, when we went for a clothes collection, I'm very sorry to say, I found people dumping on us the kind of clothes that a stray dog will not touch. See, that's not the way of doing. That is for the garbage bin. So I don't think I've said anything great, but what I have said here is just to make us rethink what we have all been doing. And Amar was referring to me that women are good at it and all. It's not about women, men. People who have hearts and people who do not want to use their hearts. Everybody has a heart. I want to use mine, you want to use yours, and someone else does not want to use theirs. And you see, if I have extra food, sometimes, like when cleaners come, I do cook and then pack and then give it to them. Just my way of doing it in whatever name you want to do. You want to do it in the name of God, you do it. You want to do it in the name of human being, do it. But always give it to another human being. Just we do that. And the other day, to celebrate somebody's birthday at home, I made about 6 or 12 packages of food and then packed and everything, made homemade coffee and all, kept it ready. And the cleaners come, I said, look, three of you are there. If you have extra friends, do you mind giving? On top of his mask, I saw his smile reaching his eyes and he collected it. Believe it or not, next day he came all the way and said, oh, madam, my friends were so happy that after so long they took a good food. I was so surprised that a very tiny act has helped them. Means, what about the people who have just set up soup kitchens around the world and who have dedicated their time, energy, and everything to do that? Please believe me, in a place like Singapore recently, a 7-year or 8-year-old girl I saw it in the Tamil newspaper. Shakti, her name. She studies primary 1, first standard. She has school holiday season, June holidays. Her school has told them, all the kids, as usual, hello, you all spend your school holidays usefully, okay? Make sure that it is useful to you and to other people. That's all they said. And this girl has come back and she has read the newspaper and saw the news channel and told the parents, oh my God, mom and dad, can we do something? So many people in Singapore have lost their jobs and so many people feel very bad about not having any extra food or anything. Would you mind if we do some donations to them in some way or other? They asked her, how do you want to do? And then she said, she lives in a housing board apartment. She just put a long table outside her own floor, just outside her house, on the same floor, same level. And then she gave up all her piggy bank money to her father. Father was so touched, he topped it up with extra money. And believe it or not, they had so many raw rice bags, bread packets, and all these things, milk packets, noodles, and everything, sauce, everything stacked up there. And you believe it or not, the girl has told the mother, can you leave it outside there and go inside our house so that the people who want to take it don't feel bad by having to come inside our house and ask for it. Let's inform everybody, put a sheet everywhere. Whoever wants, no need to inform us. Just walk, take it and go back to your house. You don't need to see us. You don't need to tell me thank you. You don't need to do anything. See, that is the art of giving back. That is how it should be given back. You know, like, not like you give $1 and make an advertisement worth $100. No. What this girl has done has touched my heart so much. She has been bestowed with the beautiful parents and they had been bestowed with a beautiful daughter. On this note, I end my sharing today. Thank you.
Very, very insightful and touched by the little girl's way of giving to society. On a lighter note, I was thinking the people who are heart patients, they are exempted from giving. Okay, you mentioned Shramadana. Shrama is effort, Dana is giving in the Hindu sense. Talking about Dana and Dharma, there are many different meanings in meaning of Dharma in our way. It is duty, eternal law, conduct, behavior, morality, righteousness. So I would, there is also one story mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. There was a king, Ranti Deva. He's known as the biggest contributor in life. Where he was a king of his province and there was famine. For 48 days he fasted so that all his subjects can be fed. When he was having even a glass of water, somebody came to him for the morsel of the food that he was supposed to have after 48 days. So his name has become a legend and is embedded in the books. So getting more insight of Dana and Dharma, giving and life, I would call upon Mr. Arun Sharma. He's, of course, a trainer and coach and is into many giving activities. He is running an orphanage school and also a free clinic. So, Mr. Arun, kindly enlighten us with more of Dana and Dharma.
Some people find an excuse not to do something in life because they say, I have no time. Some people say, I have no talent. Some people say, I have no money. So all kinds of excuses they find for not doing anything. It reminds me of a story of a man named Dasarath Majhi in a poor village in Gaya, in eastern India. This man, his wife met with an accident. He was living near a mountain. And he carried his wife on his shoulder to the nearest clinic. The nearest clinic was 55 kilometers away from his home. This is a real life story. And that wife kept bleeding because of that injury. And as a result, it took him many hours to reach to that clinic, and she died on the way. And when he reached there, the wife had died. This man thereafter made a vow that I will not let this happen to anybody else in this village. Whatever has happened to my wife shall not happen to anybody else. You all will be shocked to know what did he do. He made a vow that I'll cut out this whole mountain. Something what a government cannot do. One man alone, aged person, made a vow, I will cut out this mountain. He took a small, those equipment, tiny equipment, and started cutting the mountain. People, the whole village were laughing at him. They started laughing that you will cut out this mountain. And you wouldn't believe, Amar, this man kept on doing it. He did it for 21 years relentlessly, morning till evening, every day of his life, every day. No holidays, no Sundays, nothing. 21 years. Relentlessly, he kept on doing. And eventually the villagers started realizing that, oh, this fellow is serious, something is going to emerge. They could see the other side of the mountain, and they could see. BBC ran a documentary on him, National Geographic ran a documentary on him, your Singapore Channel News Asia ran a documentary on him, all the international channels ran a documentary on him. Then Government of India also woke up after that. They said, oh my God, what is happening here? The whole world knows about it and we are the only one not aware of it. Then, and before that, PWD department filed a case against him that mountain is a public property. How can you cut this mountain without our permission? You cannot do this. So to do something good also, you need a permission. How funny it is. So this fellow was slapped with cases, so many problems he had. And he was very, very poor. He came from a very poor background. Melinda Bill Gates Foundation also does work in that village, in that same village where he came from. He came from the lowest rung of society, a very poor man who did not have 2 square meals a day. Anyway, people used to feed him. Then local TV channels started reporting on him and all that. And eventually, he made that 55-kilometer road. He cut out and converted it into a 15-kilometer walkable road. He made it into a walkable road. He saved 40 kilometers for the villagers. Villagers now, they can go to the other side. Thereafter, state government came in, they named that road after him, and they gave him awards, and so many things happened after that. When he went to me, when Chief Minister called him to meet, Chief Minister got up from his chair and he said, you sit on this, my chair. I want you to sit on my chair for some time. I'll feel blessed about then if you sit on my chair. And he did it. What I'm trying to say, this man, Dasarat Majhi, he had no money, he had no talent. He was not economically, he was not socially connected. He was not a political figure. He was nobody. And yet he could do so much. So all of us are capable of doing. All of us are capable of doing. You are walking on the road, and when on a hot sun, what do? You take some rest below a tree. Now you forget to realize that that tree has been planted by somebody else. 50 years, somebody else planted the tree. And one who planted the tree knew it that he would not get the benefit of the tree. He would not get shade, he would not get wood, he would not get oxygen, he would not get fruit, he would not get anything out of the tree. Was he a foolish fellow? Why did he plant the tree? For what? So if we think like that, you don't let your child study medicine, you don't let your daughter study medicine. And when your daughter has to give delivery, then you're looking for a lady doctor. What kind of stupidity is this? You did not allow your own daughter to study medicine, and then you're looking for a lady doctor. So you want all the goodness to be done by others. No, that is not done. Society cannot run like that. Not only it makes business sense to help society, but also it makes karmic sense. As we know in our religion, that whatever you have earned in this life, you have made money. When you die, money will be left behind. whatever is your knowledge, it will be left behind. Whatever is your connection, your status, everything will be left behind. When you die, you will be stripped of everything. Now, what will go with you? Your goodness, your charity, your donations, all that will go with you. It will go to the next life with you. That is something what we say, sanskar. Sanskar is made from there only. Sanskar is made from whatever you studied, whatever knowledge you acquired, whatever help you did to others, that is sanskar. So that will go with you. Other things will not go with you. So it's not only, that you're trying to help society, you're trying to help yourself. When you help others, in reality, you're helping yourself. When you do something great to the society, it will come back. Even if you are dead, it will come back to your family. People will remember, oh, his grandfather was a great man. He did so much for this village. I tell you, they will come and respect you. You will find your daughter and son to be easily married off, because people will look for a relationship in your house, because your grandfather did so much charity. Haven't you seen this? This happens in society. So charity will never go waste. It will come back to you, and it will come back multifold. It will come back multifold. Say you are in a village. A village has a population of 2,000 people, and there is no hospital in that village. People have to go 200 kilometers away. This is a reality in India in many villages. People have to go 200 kilometers for a hospital. Now, if they do this, everyone donates and sets up a clinic. Now look at that. It makes a business sense. Dr. Ram was talking about social enterprise. Now the whole village lifelong will save money. If they donate one time, they will save money in their lifetime. Their children will save money lifetime, and they'll get good health. So not only it does, karmic sense, it has business sense also. So doing charity is something integral to your personality. You're not obliging anybody when you do charity. You're only doing good to yourself. Here I would like to mention one thing. In our culture, thankfulness is not equal to gratefulness. This is very important. I would like to mention here. I would like to have your attention, Amar, on this. When you give something to somebody, that fellow says thank you to you. You give money to somebody, he says thank you. You give food to somebody, he says thank you. Now then, what is the difference between thankfulness and gratefulness? In the Western culture, both are same. Oh, I'm so grateful. Oh, you gave me. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. No, but it is not same in our culture. In our culture, gratefulness is not same. I'll give you an example. You go out on the road. You see one poor man wearing torn and tattered clothes, looks very hungry, looks very sad, looks very stressed. You reach out to that man. A good soul like Dr. Raji goes to that man and says, oh, sir, there's a food for you. I cooked this food for you. Take it and enjoy this hot food. Say by chance that man says, sorry, ma'am, I don't need your food. Please take it back. Say by chance he says that. Now, who will feel sad? That man will feel sad, or Dr. Raji will feel sad? The answer is Dr. Raji will feel sad, because that man refused to take food. He's hungry. He's torn and tattered. He's poor. Fine, agreed. But he refused to take your food. He doesn't want to take your food. Now, who feels sad? You feel sad. So gratefulness is when he accepts your food and you say, I'm grateful to you. That is gratefulness. Gratefulness is not one who takes. Gratefulness is one who gives. This is the culture in our Indian culture. When we call a Brahmin to our home, we give him money at the end of the food. Why do we give? Because we are grateful to him. You accepted my invitation. You came to my home to have food. I'm obliged. I'm grateful. He could have said no. The priest could have said no. Sorry, sir. I'm busy. I won't come to you. Who will feel sad? I'll feel sad. He won't feel sad. He won't feel sad. So gratefulness is when you give somebody and you feel good about it. That is gratefulness. So you want to have that gratefulness in your life. This is the only way, sir. You give out and give out, and you'll feel gratefulness. And mind you, gratefulness brings grace. It's a spiritual God. When you are grateful, it invites grace from the God. Divine gives you. When you are responsible for 3 people, you yourself and your child, God gives you for 3 people. When you're responsible for 20 people in your family, your auntie and uncle and this and that, everybody you consider as your family. Like in the villages still in India, when you ask somebody how many people you have in your family, that fellow cannot give you a good answer. He cannot give you a clear answer. He says, my family 10. No, sorry, 12. I think 13. Something. He is always confused. But if you ask a city boy, how many people in your family? 3. Immediately he says, Father, me, my wife and son. That's all 3. Village boy, he doesn't know whom to include in family because he considers his neighbors also family, his aunties also family, his wife's sister also family. Everybody is family. So that's the definition of family. So when you care about 20 people, God gives you for 20 people. When you set up a factory, when you have 1,000 workers and you care about 1,000 workers, God gives you for 1,000 workers. So it depends. What do you care for? You care for your own life. Then it's a dog's life. God will give you only for your life. So this is all I wanted to urge, that you want to have that experience of gratefulness, start sharing. And it's not, you're not obliging others, you're obliging yourself. Thank you.
Oh, definitely many points to ponder and note. I have noted down that we have to take care of the 55-kilometer area like a mountain, so that we just, as you mentioned, sanskar, sacrament, the English word is sacrament. And also you emphasized on thankfulness and gratefulness. Yes, we have to be thankful. As always, we have Thanksgiving in Western culture, but we don't have Thanksgiving in our culture. We think it was our right to get. So we have a different way of looking at life. And as Mr. Arun, you explained very clearly about giving and the ways, the gratefulness meaning in deep. So with Dr. Ram's visions on social and entrepreneurship, and Dr. Raji's about Shramadana and the heart of giving, and with insightfulness of Mr. Arun's example of mountain man and the person who planted a tree, and thankfulness and gratefulness. With this, I end today's session. Hope our viewers have got some information in this. And yeah, Dr. Raji would like to add up something.
Yeah, I just would like to say, Amar, there is a wrong perception that there is this Thanksgiving in the Western culture and we don't have it. Actually, in our culture, life itself is supposed to be a moment by moment life of Thanksgiving. That's why we don't have a separate day for Thanksgiving. We don't have Father's Day, Mother's Day, Grandfather's Day, Sibling Day, Uncle's Day, Aunt's Day, because from birth until we leave this world, we are supposed to be thankful to everything around us, not only to our father, mother, to our relatives, whatever, to the society we are in, to whatever, and we just happen to call it as God. That's all. God has manifested itself into many forms for us, and we don't need to have a Thanksgiving Day. And if you really are concerned about having a particular day at Thanksgiving Day, we all have something called ancestral worship. And then, every month, every year, we do offerings to ancestors. And then in particular days of year, we conduct festivities. And like Sharmaji said, we invite people to our home and give whatever we can to them. And believe it, when I invite people, when they come and accept it, I thank my stars. I thank God. I'm so thankful that they were able to accept it from me. You know why? Nobody is a beggar. If they accept it from you, you should thank your stars, and you have to be grateful to God that somebody decided to accept what you wanted to give them. We have to be thankful to God because God has shown us a way to live in the correct manner by giving. If nobody is willing to accept, there is nothing called donor, giver, whatever it is. People accept it so that you and I learn how to be humble, how to be humane, and how not to be egoistic. That's all. Thank you.
Yes, our whole life is Thanksgiving. We thank.
Amar, I
every
like
day.
just like to I like
Yeah.
to add one small thing. Many years ago, it was about 25, 30 years ago, when I did not understand life so much. I asked a person uh, that, sir, he was propagating that he should give back to society, give back to society. I told him, what if I don't have anything to give back? How do I give back? You're always harping on the same thing. So he gave a very beautiful answer to this, which still I remember that answer. He told me, you don't have anything wonderful. Can you do one thing? Can you give half an hour every week? I said, yeah, I can give it. Then you go to old age home and just talk to old people, sit with them and talk to them. That's all. That will be a great service to society. So everybody can do this. You just go to, because they are craving people, old age home, there's nobody to talk. They don't want food. They don't want electricity. They don't want clothes. They don't want money. They want somebody to go and talk to them. They're craving for it. So he said, you just go for half an hour once a week and talk to them. And that will be a great social service. Then I realized that everybody is capable of doing it. Thank you.
Yes, we have this experiences of connecting to people. We are people, we need connections, we need that social weave which surrounds us from birth to death. So with all this inputs from our panelists, I would like to end this session. Hope you people comment, like and subscribe our channel, and definitely we'll come up with more innovative ways of life in our next episode. Thank you.